Picking up the best. Imani's original, a color above the rest. Sweet savory, every bite's divine. Bean pie's fresh every single time. Taste the magic in every slice. Come on, now don't think twice.
Greetings. Assalamu alaikum. I am Imani Muhammad, founder of Imani's Original Bean Pies. For over a decade, I've been on a mission to create more than just desserts. I've been dedicated to bringing a taste of tradition, culture, and health to every table. Welcome to Conversations Over Pie, where we go beyond the flavors and share the stories that nourish our souls. Here, we'll gather around just like family and talk about connections between food, culture, and community, all while savoring the moments that bring us together. Again, welcome. Um, it's been a minute, and I'm so happy that we're back. What we did, we took a break to we have some phenomenal guests over the next few weeks. And of course, today is nothing short of phenomenal. But before we start, I want to shout out to our sponsors. Of course, Imani's Original Bean Pies. Today we're featuring that original pie. This week we'll be featuring the peach pie on tomorrow. So if you all come on by, we're at 2423 East 75th Street. We'll be there tomorrow from 12 to 5. And we'll be doing Feed the People Friday tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Also, I want to shout out to AMPR, my PR specialist, Sister Africa Porter, or I should say Dr. Africa Porter, and Melanie Brown. Also, Brown Sugar Bakeries, who's always supportive of us, located on 75th near King Drive. You all know about Brown Sugar Bakeries, those delicious cakes. The TBM 360. Shout out to the Black Mall, who has helped us to organize our business and become professional with our new agents. Some of you may experience that if you call our number. Text Bean Pie, 2 words, Bean Pie to 773-900-7822. That's 773-900-7822. And also Black Chicago Eats. Guys, we got something great coming on May 4th. We're going to talk about that too. It's the Taste of Imani's. Thanks to our brother Tori Muhammad of Black Chicago Eats. He'll be one of our guests soon as well to talk about what we'll be doing with the Taste of Imani's and then the Taste of Black Chicago this summer. And last but not least, CROW, the Coalition for the Remembrance of Elijah Muhammad, who is always supportive of what we do and our events as well. But without further ado, speaking of CROW, I have a phenomenal guest. I'm a little bit biased to this guest because this guest is my sister from the same mother, I always say. So without further ado, we're going to talk about what we'll be doing over at CROW, among a plethora of other things. I bring before you, I almost said doctor, I think she might be, but KJ Muhammad. Come on, sister, you could be a doctor. If you're not, you certainly can entertain them.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, queen.
I am not, but you are correct, sister. I can entertain the doctors, the lawyers, and the Indian chiefs. Yes, ma'am.
And I'll vouch for that. Yes, ma'am. So I always like to start the show with you just telling us a little bit about yourself so that our listeners will know.
Well, okay. First of all, thanks for having me on your show, sister, from the same mother.
Yes.
Because we always talk about our Black sisters as our sisters, but we want to make that differentiation that we come from the same womb, and so that makes us closer than any other type of sister. And so I am Khalilah Muhammad, best known in the community and in the professional world as KJ Muhammad. I am a superhero. That's the best way I can put it. What does she do? She does
Thank you.
everything.
That's right.
She does everything. I supervise a team of child protection investigators for the Department of
Mhm.
Children and Family Services. That is, um, that is my occupation on paper for the state of Illinois. I'm a public service administrator. Um, however, I have a master's of sciences in psychology, and my
Mhm.
background is in counseling. I'm a certified alcohol and other drug counselor. Um, and so, yeah, I do a
Mhm.
little of this and a little bit of that. I'm also a home chef. Um, and so, a lot of people in the social media world know me for my food. I'm an artist, so I cook, I paint, I write, and it's all the same to me.
So first of all, I want to thank you for saying that you're a superwoman. You
Superhero.
remind me of a superhero. I'm sorry,
Yes,
a
ma'am.
superhero. Which, well, you remind me of one time Minister Farrakhan saying you got to be a superwoman, but we because we are, and you do so many things. I just wonder, but we're going to start with the food real quick because you're right. You are known for food, and I always tell people. People think that I'm like a foodie or a cook. I'm not. I make bean pies and I specialize in that. I dream about it. I make new ones. That's what I do. But it was you that helped us come up with the one with the cream cheese frosting on top. So I want to, highlight that real quick and talk
Thank you.
about it. The daycare at the time, the children in the daycare wanted something like a cake. They didn't want fruit. We always ate fruit every day. So they wanted something special for birthdays. And I had decided we weren't doing cake anymore because it just wasn't, with all of the coloring and stuff, it just wasn't healthy. So they asked, well, could we do a bean pie? I said, yes. They said, can we do Cool Whip on top? No. But let's think about it. And you came up with the cream cheese frosting. You can chime in now if you like.
So, ironically enough, I prefer my bean pie without the frosting. Um, but yes, the cream cheese frosting is my recipe. Realizing, I think at the time it was so long ago, it seems like a lifetime ago. And
Mm-hmm.
I should also mention that all four of my children grew up in your child care, YCC. And so I realized that people wanted something that was more like a cake with frosting. And that was my go-to frosting for cupcakes and cakes at
Mm-hmm.
the time. Because I do bake. I've never baked a bean pie, and why would I? Because my sister is the bean pie lady. It's funny how my daughters and I visited Sean Michelle's ice cream shop the other day,
Ooh.
Brother Yaya. So
Yeah.
we did have some bean pie ice cream. However, Brother Yaya has a backdrop, or I guess you call it a backdrop, but it's a life-size advertisement of a slice of bean pie. And so we were
Mm-hmm.
taking pictures in the ice cream shop because we want the people to patronize these Black businesses. And as we were taking the pictures, my daughters and I, as all three of us, decided that I could not take a picture in front of that slice of bean pie, because while I want people to patronize Sean Michelle's, I'm also a loyalist, right? And so the only bean pie for me is Imani's Originals, and it can't be whatever bean pie that is. And also, I won't attempt. I probably could bake a bean pie, but that's not something that I think I will ever endeavor. So, um, but
Well,
I'm happy that the cream cheese frosting has had this longevity and people love it, and it pairs well with tart fruits like the strawberries and the
yes.
blueberries. And
And
so
even pineapples, believe it or not. Yeah.
it was something that was absolutely innovative for the bean pie, because people have been having bean pie since the 30s. Um,
Mm-hmm.
since the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, brought this famous Muslim bean pie to these United States, and um, they had never had it quite like that. So I'm glad that it has had the longevity and
Mm-hmm.
that it has had.
Yes. And I want people to feel free to ask questions. on the social media. I think we will see it. If not, my producer will make sure that I see it. So feel free to chime in and ask questions. But I wanted to touch on food because you do. We talking about the bean pie, and I don't mind if you all try others. It's okay. When my son was young, he's an adult now. But when he was young, we used to go to the mosque and we would always buy the Chicago pie and somebody else's. So it was kind of like a game we did, and then we would say which one was, we
Well,
liked the
sister, I
best.
have tried pies from several different mosques around the
Yeah.
nation in my travels, and I have not come across anything quite like what you have. And so, I mean, I'll
All
argue with
praises due to
anybody.
Allah. All praises due to Allah, sister. I can't fight you with that. Brother Assad says that's awesome. But I wanted to say this. You're known for cooking savory foods, and that's I go we go to your house the most because you're the one that can cook. I mean, come on. And we have all types of food. You name it. And your husband can even cook. So he'll take to the grill, you season everything up, and then you make all the sides and all the trimmings. And people just know when she talk about superheroes, she got to do everything. And so I bring my little pie and sit it on the table.
And that's all we ask. Bring some paper towels, bring a paper plate or something,
Right. So water.
It's not that other
Yes.
people can't cook. It's just all of you always say, we want you to cook everything. And so
No, we did not. No.
Mama
We did
did.
not say that.
Mama did. So
Mama,
it
put
does
it on
leave
her.
me exhausted. However, I am the self-proclaimed comfort queen. I'm the self-proclaimed gravy master. And I'm very confident in what I do, and I love to do it. It's peace for me. The kitchen is my safe place. Um, I can teach people how to cook, but it's not necessarily what I do. I mean, I have
Mhm,
taught certain recipes to close friends and family, but when I'm in the
mhm,
kitchen, it's more of a therapeutic thing for me. Peace for
mhm.
me. Especially chopping, like when I'm chopping or when I'm whisking, you
And
know.
but I want you to talk about that because you shared something with me. Naturally, when we make things, just like when we made the bean pie at the daycare, it was like this would be a great business. So when you make certain foods, we say the same thing. You could sell lasagna, you could sell your cakes, you make good cakes. And we say you could do this, and you answered me one time in a way that you showed me how one of the ways that we can deal with our mental and
Mhm.
self-care. So talk to us about why you cook food the way you do, not as a business, but as enjoyment, or, you talk about it. I don't know.
So creativity is a major way to um, channel your negative emotions. Um,
Mm,
you have to get it out of your head, and sometimes people journal, sometimes people go and they have talk therapy.
mm.
But creativity is a great way. My best friend
Interesting. I
does
think her
arts and crafts.
Wi-Fi had a bit of an issue.
Can you hear me?
So when she comes back, here's what we're going to do. We're going to see if she can cut off Wi-Fi and just use her phone.
I'm here. Do you need me to cut off Wi-Fi?
Okay.
Do you need me to cut off
So,
Wi-Fi?
so yeah, I'll keep going. I'll talk about she uses, and I don't want to really give her story, but she uses her cooking her as a hobby to aid in her own mental. Sometimes we just want to do things that relax us, and she finds a way to relax in doing
Am
that.
I here?
And she's an artist, so she paints and she does so many other things. Like for me, I find martial arts or meditation, maybe a little Tai Chi. Those are the things that's for me, and baking actually. So I can see that. We're going to give KJ Muhammad a chance to come back in, um, and my producer to pull her back into the room. Um, but hey, we just keep going. If you have any questions, please be sure to make your questions. Okay, Khalilah, do you think that are
I'm
you
back.
can you are you back? Okay. Are you on
I
Wi-Fi
think
right now?
so.
Can you take your
I
phone off
took it off. I
Wi-Fi?
was.
Yeah.
I
So
just took it
sometimes
off.
that's a technical problem for us, but okay, so you
So
got to almost start over.
So as I was saying, being creative is a good way to rid yourself of negative emotions, right? I
Mhm.
know people who, I was saying my best friend, she does arts and crafts. She'll make personalized cups, t-shirts, and things like that to help herself to um, the boost the spirits. And so I do that a lot when I'm painting a picture, or if sometimes when I'm in the kitchen, it's almost like I have on horse blinders. Like I'm in a zone and I'm not even fully aware of the things that are going on around me.
Mhm.
That's a self-care thing for me. That's my way of talking out, um, or putting it on a plate, putting it on a canvas, um, the negative emotions that I'm experiencing at the time.
Yeah, and that's good. I want to really get into that because, especially right now, a lot of people are saying they feeling a lot of pressure with the prices on everything going up. Um,
Hmm.
with the new administration in office, all of these things that are just stressful. People's
Hmm.
jobs have been. I mean, you have a guy that gets on stage with a chainsaw and make mockery of taking people's jobs away. So I mean, this is
Yeah.
this is worldwide pressure, and people are
Hmm.
dealing with it in different ways. But I think it would be helpful, if we kind of give solutions, because
Hmm.
we're talking about suicide rates going up, and all types of things, domestic violence. Let's
Hmm.
talk about like different ways that people could just kind of try to handle, the pressure.
So I want to go back to address what you said about selling the food, right? So the reasons that I just gave you is mainly the reason why I never wanted to cook food for money.
Mm-hmm.
Even though at times people ask me to cook for them, and usually I cook for people and I give it to them if it's somebody I care about, somebody I love. A lot of times I let people come by my house just to get a plate of whatever is for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
However, like I said, when it's a person who is endeared to me and they want me to cook for a small event, I will charge money because I mean, I'm not gonna just buy food and use my time
Right.
without compensation. But it's
Mm-hmm.
not, as far as like having a restaurant, having a catering business, that's something that I never wanted to do. But
Yeah.
in regards to the political atmosphere, we've always, as a people, been in these situations, and we always persevered. I
Yeah.
rely on the fall of America from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He told us that these things were coming down. We're living in the fall of America. He's taught us how to survive. All right. A lot of people are doing urban farming now. A lot of people are farming
Yes.
in their backyards, or at least growing a few tomatoes and cucumbers. And so those are the things that we have to do. We have to educate ourselves on growing our own foods. We also have to realize that the simple foods are best, and uh they're not
Mm-hmm.
costing weighty prices. And so just thinking about the bean pie, the navy bean is one of the most complete foods on earth. And I buy a 2 pound bag of beans for less than $3. So even though the cost of beans has gone up, it's not breaking the
Yes,
bank like
tremendously.
a dozen eggs, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we just have to return to the simple things in life. I
That's
know
right.
that we have arrived and we want to eat the seafoods and the red meats and all of the things that are doing nothing but killing us anyway. So we just have to be mindful. And just recognize that nothing is happening that's not going according to plan. So,
That's right. That's right. So I'm glad that you brought that up. One of the things we do, Feed the People Friday, um, at Mama Africa's Marketplace on 71st and Clyde, but also now at, oh, thank you, producer, at the Quarry Event Center as well, where we're located, Imani Cares. And that's when we say feed the people, we don't say we feed the homeless, although we aim to, but we aim to feed everybody. And it's not about just food. It's about feeding the people knowledge, feeding the people, making the people comfortable, sharing with them, like we just talked about in this world, of pressure. Let's come together as a community and be comfortable. But also, what was important to me is to show people what fast food really should look like. And like you said, buy some dry beans, some vegetables, some rice, whatever it is that you like. You could put it in a pot. You could cook it fast or slow nowadays. We got the Instapots
absolutely.
and the different, and you don't have to go spend $100 on the pot. You could go to a thrift store and find a pot. I found a real nice rice cooker there for like $5, and I found that many years ago. It
Mhm.
still works.
Mhm.
So these
I
are the
remember
things that we want to.
growing up.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. So it's stuck again for some reason. But yeah. So these are the things that we want to make known at Feed the People Friday. We will be doing it tomorrow, just so you'll know. At 3 o'clock p.m., we'll start. We have some people in the community that's already ready to help. But if you want to come and you want to volunteer or make donations, we do not, I'm not trying to be funny, but we don't give people used things. But we have been, people have donated new t shirts, hats, and socks, gloves, things like that, and we give that away to the people. We also have food items that have been brought in and donated. So we like to give people those things that they could use. Um, it's not that I'm against used clothing. We just don't have anywhere to store it, but we will connect you with organizations that do. Okay, so just with that being said, tomorrow at 3 o'clock, we will have Feed the People Friday at both locations, 75th and Phillips, where we're located, Imani's Originals, inside the Corey Event Center, and also at Mama Africa's Marketplace on 71st and Clyde. I want to thank the young adults that um, help us, all the time. They come through and they give us a hand because they're young and they're concerned with their community. I see that KJ and I, both our husbands are on. My dad is on, so it's a family thing. And I see Mama Africa is on. And yes, I'm shouting you out. People need to also stop at Mama Africa's to get your needs like soap, toothpaste, jewelry, you name it, artwork, statues. She has it all. And it's just a fun and a good environment to be in. I don't know. I kind of lost my guess, but I know I didn't lose her for good because she'll be back and we'll get back going. But what I would like to do, well, I think she's coming back in now. There she is.
So every time I get kicked out and I get back in, I just want the producer to know that it just puts me backstage somehow. I don't know.
Right. I think she
Um,
knows because you can't
what's
just pop.
what's
Mhm.
what's weird is that my phone, I'm joining from my iPhone, which is on Do Not Disturb. Yet somehow iPhone just allowed a call to come through
Yep.
that kicked me off, and I
Hmm.
feel like that's by design.
Yep. Well, that is what iPhone, they have not fixed that. I was using my phone as well, because of convenience, and it was doing the same thing. So my
Mhm.
producer said I couldn't use my phone anymore. So now I use my iPad, but even with that, I'm constantly seeing things drop
Okay.
down, even though it's on D&D. So I understand. It's technology. They're trying to do so many
Right.
things at one time now with AI and everything that a lot of things are just confused.
So I just want to encourage the listening and viewing audience to stay with us through these hiccups, because if I get kicked out, I'm coming right back.
That's
So
right. That's right. And we're going to talk
um,
about, but now, Khalil, we talked about your profession. We talked about, you gave people some pointers of things that they could, they can try to look into things that they enjoy to help with their own mental health. But you have something great, a symposium coming up on May 3rd. Let's talk about that and let's get the flyer for that up. Mhm.
absolutely. So, May is the month for mental health awareness,
Mhm.
and I had an idea that I have turned into material. Um, in the beginning of this year, it became my vision or my goal to kind of get myself together, um, health wise, physically, spiritually, and
Mhm.
mentally. And as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, we can't think about ourselves without thinking about our people. And so, as I thought about the state of my own mental health, I had to consider the state of the community. And so on May 3rd, we will be um, having a mental health symposium at Crow, 2435 West 71st Street. And it is titled You Good. So
Yes.
that that is our native language. I thought about what would speak to our people exclusively, and we pretty much, you good is different from you straight, which is also different from you
Mhm.
cool, because we understand each other. And so that is kind of like the main goal of this mental health symposium is to have Black doctors and Black mental health professionals to come and educate the people about some of the things that they may be dealing with, and also to offer resources to offer some solutions. We want the people to be educated, but at the same time, we want to point them in a direction of getting the help that they need.
That's right. That's right. And that sounds great. Now, that will be at 2435 West 71st Street at the Coalition
Yes,
for the Remembrance of Elijah Muhammad. And that's May 3rd, which is a Saturday from 12
from
to
12
3.
to 3.
Please, I would suggest people be on time just so that you don't miss anything, you know. And I'm not always the most timeliest person in the world, so I'm not saying that in a way of sarcasm. But this is
Mm-hmm.
very important. Mental health. I was sharing with my own family that I could say for at least 20 to 25 years of my life, everything was just peachy cream for me. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't do too much. I was raising my children and I was enjoying my life, on my terms. I had the daycare going. I mean, you couldn't tell me I was around elders and children all day. So it was, that was the life for me. And nothing really bad had happened. My grandmother ended up passing. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother, or our maternal grandmother passed when in '86. I think I was in graduate. I had just graduated 8th grade. But my paternal one died in 2006, was it? That to me was a
2005.
little bit, I wouldn't say it was traumatic, but we never want to see it, right? So it was what it was. But then later, after those years, I thought everything was fine. The children and the young people around me, they weren't perfect, but they were doing their thing. They were doing well in school or their sports or things that they did, music world, whatever it is that they did. So it was just good for me. And then tragedy hit. I never thought about it and I didn't see it coming. And, that was what, 2018? I'm still
Right.
dealing with it. I'm still
Absolutely.
dealing with it. And I didn't realize that I was still dealing with it. So that's the thing. Don't just say, I'm all right. The question is, you good?
Right. And
We in the world.
so,
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I know you want to go on, but we in the world of wickedness, sister. We ain't all that
yes.
good. We all right. We might be all right, but we can work on ourselves. So come on.
And I think that that's our auto response. How you doing, sister? I'm okay. It's auto, just we lost our paternal grandmother in 2005. And
Okay, yeah.
grief and loss is a peculiar thing, right? So it's been a little more than 20 years. Sometimes you're doing well, right? And then at other times, not so well. The thing about grief and loss is that, loss is not just loss of a loved one's life, it can be loss of the familiarities of your life. And
Right.
for us, though most people are raised by their mother's family, we were raised by our father's family, right?
Mhm.
And so our grandmother was a staple in our lives. And so when that mainstay, that familiarity of your life is no longer there, I mean, we know that the only way to escape death is to not be born. So teaches the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. So teaches
Right.
science, right? And so it's a natural thing for us to lose her. It's not a natural thing for her to lose us. But at the same time, she was our go to person. She
Mhm.
was our unconditional mainstay of life. And so at times, you lacking in your life,
That's
right?
right.
So much so that we have turned her birthday into our own personal holiday. It's Thelma Day every July 13th, right?
That's right.
And that's how we honor our grandmother. um and she was revered by more than just us. People come out for Thelma Day,
Yep.
you understand?
Hmm.
And so that is the way that a person can live forever. There is no heaven above the clouds. Sorry.
That's right.
Spoiler alert, you're not going nowhere but in the dirt. Okay. And so the way that people live forever is through building a legacy like Thelma did. It may be surprising to the audience that we call our grandmother Thelma, but that was what she wanted us to call her. you know,
Well, well, she was a young grandmother in the beginning.
she was a
So
young grandmother. And
later
so it
she
stuck.
became Granny. So her other
She became
term of
Granny.
endearment is Granny.
She
Hmm.
became Granny to our younger brothers. And as you alluded to earlier, one of them, Elijah, is no longer with us. And then so that loss is a loss with trauma. And
Yeah,
so here we are, life goes on, but that's when life starts lifing, right? Because
that's right.
it's difficult.
Hmm.
Grief, they say years work on grief, and that's true. When a lot of years get between you and that particular incident, it may seem at most times that things are easier for you, but then there are those times where you're having some really difficult moments or some triggers or some memories that are hard for you to get over. And so all these things we carry with us, and we need to have a way to effectively process them.
Right.
And it's
So
not just us, it's the
mhm,
community, right? We
right.
deal with tragic death in our community every day.
Every
Uh,
day.
every day.
And you don't know until you know. And hopefully you'll never have to know. But those of us that do, you don't know until you know. You really don't. You don't really understand. You may hopefully have empathy, and I pray that you do, because a couple things that I wanted to highlight. First of all, people thought that in the family thought I was joking, but I would always say, if Thelma was still here, I would have been a millionaire, like within a couple years. And they was like, they he no, I'm not joking. She was that person that kept me organized, and that was what I needed in my life. I didn't get that gene from mama like you did of organization. I got her looks, and you got her ways like that. But
I look like my daddy. So,
right. So
which I
that
mean,
there's
I'm
that.
not mad about it.
But I'm finna go somewhere, because there's a difference between loss, for me, this me talking, and trauma, and being traumatized.
Absolutely.
So for me
Absolutely.
to see that not only a person could murder the way that they do, I had never seen that, but could stand in your face knowing that they was a part of it and be there at the hospital. Oh yeah, we on TV. I'm putting it out there nationally. To stand in my face, I'm a spiritual person. People don't know that. And sometimes it's a good thing for me, and sometimes not so good, because I don't want to see what I see. And when Allah revealed to me what was going on, I just said it out of my mouth and let them know. that I knew, I know what you did. And I told them. And if I was wrong, they wouldn't have been standing there looking at me like this. So yeah,
Well,
I went there,
so we
Khalilah,
do
on
know.
this is my show. I can say what I want to say.
Yeah,
It's my birthday month. So I can
happy birthday again. Because, I mean,
thank
we had
you.
fun on yesterday, but it's your birthday for the rest of the month.
We better lighten
Um,
it up because you know me. I'm not.
well, I'm
A
not
lot of
gonna
people
lighten it
don't
up,
know
but
me.
I'm not gonna lighten it up, but I will say this. The Bible says that, vengeance belongs to the Lord, right?
That's right.
And but we also have to know who God is. You know what I mean? So there is an omnipotent God, but we also have been taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that God means power. We are all gods. And my thing is, I'm not in the streets, but I know that the streets take care of the streets. And so I can leave that there. The only thing that I had to deal with is the fact of my brother being gone, because that's enough for me. That's enough for me. And so I leave the rest of it where it is, and it'll be retribution will be brought down in some way, shape, or form, because I am faithful. My family is faithful, and God takes care of the faithful.
Well, from what I've heard, it's been pretty much executed on many.
Okay.
So I'm gonna leave that at that. See, we family. We can. It's a lot that we could talk about, but there's a lot of people chiming in. There's somebody wanting you to make sure you reach out to her. Trisha Pyramid says, please contact her. We could always go back and look. And so many people on here just kind of bear witness to what we're saying. And this thing for us, because we didn't, and we hear a lot of people say this, but we didn't always have, like, when things happen, tragic things that we've heard happen in schools or around schools or that involve our students, they don't always get the proper mental health care that they need, in my opinion. And I think in many opinions, because I hear a lot of people talk about it. And other nationalities do. So now, but we are our own solution. So
Mhm.
when I see people like you doing what you're doing, I want to highlight it. I want to make sure that our people show up and get what you need. Sometimes we don't necessarily know what we need. How many times do people tell me to get on somebody's couch or go get you some help? And I'm like, I'm good.
It's the superhero syndrome, right? So when I say I'm a superhero, obviously there's a undertone of sarcasm in that. Um, I don't want to be her. I don't always know.
Mm,
I want to be soft. I want to be a rose. You understand what I'm saying? But that's just not how life has been for me. And so I'm saying now in 2025 that I'm in my soft life era. And people laugh at that, but I went and had a facial today. There's no reason for me to live a hard life.
mm,
I've had that.
come on.
I'm almost 50 years old. Next year I will be 50 years old. Um, and hey, I'm in my soft life era. I'm doing soft things. I'm getting facials. I'm going to the
Come
gym.
on.
I'm working out. I'm going, I love the theater. I'm doing that more. I'm getting season tickets now. I've always said, prior to a few years ago, I'll have season tickets to my favorite theaters. Now I do because I can.
Mhm.
You know,
Mm.
I'm almost done raising children. I've done that all my life. So it's time for a soft life.
I'm happy to hear it, sister, because I mean, this is what we're talking when we talk about mental health and awareness, self care. These things are becoming popular terms in our community, and I'm glad to be here for it because I too, felt like, oh, we're just supposed to keep working hard, and I'm seeing now, like, no, relax, stop.
Hmm.
You don't have to. Sometimes you can just get a whole lot done by sitting and thinking and
Right. And
thinking
people
through it.
don't even think about self care uh, as mental wellness, I should say,
Yeah.
as being important for emotional well-being. That's the term that
Mhm.
Dr. Sonia Kennedy, that's her preferred term, right? She said mental health is so broad that we can kind of uh, bring it in by just
Mhm.
describing it as emotional well-being, you
Yeah.
know, not always being overcome with negative emotions. Let's turn this thing around. Let's feel good.
All
And
right.
I mean, we all need a little dope, not the kind you get not the one where they saying you straight, not that kind of
No,
dope,
we want
but
some
I'm
you
talking
good.
about, that's why I say there's a difference between you good, you straight, and is you cool, and we already know what all, is you cool? That's confrontational. You straight, you might need to cop something. But I mean dopamine, right? Dopamine is a neurotransmitter in your
Mm.
brain. And that's why they call these drugs dope, because these are
They trying to hate on her when she really get deep into what we need to learn from. But like we said, she's just gonna keep popping back on, and we'll figure out a remedy to these things as we continue on. That's the good thing about having your own show. You learn as you go, and I'm so thankful that so many people ride right with us. But while we wait on her, I want to mention this. I have some childhood friends that have been my friends since grammar school, and they're in. A couple of them are in business as well. Most of them in business, but two in particular are in the self-care business, if you will, and that's the Glamour Day Spa Mobile, which we'll be having at the Quarry again this month of May as we involve ourselves in self-care. And then we have my friend who has Main Abstracts in the West Loop. So they are people that have helped me with, because I wasn't always the one that's gonna take that time to take care of myself. So I'm thankful to my friends that I grew up with that kind of helped me out to show me those ropes and to stay in business for long enough, you know, like they've been in business over 20 years. So I'm just grateful for that. But I was talking while we were waiting on you to come back in. I want you to continue to go over, talk about the dopamines.
Oh, right. So dopamine is a feel good a neurotransmitter in your brain. It makes you feel good. It boosts your spirits. And you can get that effect from exercise. You can get it
Mm.
from listening to good music. Um, a lot of other positive things that you can do to
Mm.
increase the dopamine in your brain. But the reality is, in our communities, we get introduced to drugs early, and that's easy to do. That's a quick and easy feel good. Whereas going to the gym and working out, take my word, if this is my fourth week of being there at 6 a.m., that's not easy.
It's
But
not easy.
I can say, I can bear witness that I feel better. Could it be because now the sun is out? Absolutely. Sunshine is better than gloom
Mhm.
for your mood. However, um, it's sad that a lot of our people succumb to the easy dope that they can buy on the streets. But there are other ways, and so those are some of the things we'll be exploring in this mental health symposium. And so for what's her name, Trisha Delta, I mean, i I would
Pyramid.
advise the sister Trisha Pyramid be there Saturday the 3rd, May 3rd at 12 p.m.
12 p.m. 2435 West 71st Street. And yeah, be there or be square, as they say. But I don't know if you'll be square if you're not there. Be there to be square.
Right. Square is better,
On the
right?
square. Yeah. A lot of people ask me how I'm doing. I say I'm fair for a square. Some people get it, some don't. So,
Right.
but yeah. So just again, it was another point that I wanted to make and I lost it. Just bear with me 1 second. It was
Well, I
so
wanted to go back on
exercise.
something you
Okay.
said about trauma, right?
Mm,
You mentioned that trauma is different from loss. And that's right, because you can lose things and not lose them in a traumatic way. But when you lose things in a traumatic way, or even if you didn't lose anything, but you've been traumatized in ways, that's trauma is a different kind of thing to deal with. With so much community violence, there are so many young people dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder. Um, than ever before. It used to be associated with war veterans, and now, I mean, it's us. We're at war. This is war in our community every day. Um,
Hmm.
the thing about trauma, there's a few symptoms for trauma. One of them is re-experiencing. Having flashbacks, so to speak. Reliving parts of those events. Um, Another symptom of trauma is avoidance, right? I can say I avoided going to Stroger Hospital after that day. In
Hmm.
2018, having to go there and learn that my brother was no more. I avoided going to Stroger, so much so that if I was working overtime and when I was an investigator and I had to have a case, if I had a case at Stroger, the people knew it and they would step in and do that for me because I just didn't want to go past that circular drive in front of Stroger, and so I would avoid it. And so that's a symptom of being traumatized. And then the third symptom of trauma is hypervigilance, right? You always on your guard for that thing, whatever that traumatizing thing is. So say you may be a rape survivor, right?
Hmm.
You may become so hypervigilant that it could affect your romantic relationships in a negative way because you're
Hmm.
always on your guard for being assaulted again. And
Okay.
so those are the main three symptoms of trauma: avoidance, hypervigilance, and re-experiencing.
Okay. So we learning right here today. Yeah, because when you talk about hypervigilance, yeah, that I can see that as an issue. And we don't, again, you don't know until you know, right? And
Right.
you start to look at yourself and say, I do get excited when this happens, or I may not be able to hold back in certain instances. So yeah,
So we say, keep your head on the swivel, right? Because we live in a real devil's world.
that's
So
right.
with the messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us to walk our post in a perfect manner.
That's right.
However, I shouldn't be always necessarily riding around with my pistol on my lap. You know what I mean? That's hypervigilance. That may be,
Mhm.
uh, by some accounts, taking it to a different level. We want to be aware at all times of what's going on around us because to be aware is to be alive. We don't just go out
Mhm.
into this devil's world and la la land with our ears plugged up. We looking at the birds. We don't do that. I
Yeah.
had to teach my daughters to absolutely profile when you're out in the world. Profile.
Mhm.
If
Mhm.
you don't have to ever worry about being politically correct while you are out alone and you're trying to return home safe. If he doesn't look right, if she doesn't look right, get as far away from him or her as possible. You don't have to worry
Mhm.
about what they
Mhm.
think about you moving away from them.
That's
They
right.
don't know you.
Mhm.
Your goal is to
Mhm.
return home safe.
Yep. And I'm glad that you teach that because that was one of the things that we teach in self defense. I'm so thankful for my teacher, Professor Joaquin Jackson. But we would teach in different, he'd take us to different places that we were hired to teach. And we would talk about that, like not being afraid to, sometimes we know and we feel a thing and we see that we should cross the street and we don't because we're worried about what that person would think. Well, that you feel that that person may harm you. So it doesn't matter what they think. The thing
Right,
is you want to go home.
right, absolutely.
And so that's
Um,
the most important thing.
that's right. I
Yep.
did want to mention about this shirt that I'm wearing. The
Yes.
This shirt says healed, but the ed is in parentheses. Um, to
I'm glad you
me,
said it because
that,
you can barely see it until you said it.
right.
Mhm.
I'm in the process. That's what it means. I'm not healed, but I'm in the process. The ED is coming. This shirt is a brand, Uncursed. As you can see,
Mhm.
this is a chain being broken, and coming out of the chain, you see some birds flying out.
I love
Um,
it.
my coworker, Asha Mosi, this is her brand, and
Mhm.
it's born out of the idea of breaking generational curses. We hear that
Mm.
term, generational curses, and we know that to mean maladaptive learned behavior, right? That we
Mm.
pick up in our families of origin.
Yeah.
Uh, excuse me for looking out the window. I'm not for certain why this white woman is in my lawn.
Okay.
But I'll get with her as soon as the show has
So it's,
ended.
and we down to the wire, so we down to a few more
Right,
minutes.
right. And
Hmm.
so the point of it is to break the chain of this normalized behavior that we pick up in our families of origin, that because it's some of these maladaptive behaviors that we think are normal are not. I mean,
That's right.
there's incest in families,
Yep.
there's emotional abuse in families,
Hmm.
a lot of
Hmm.
masking things, or as we say, sweeping it under the rug and not addressing um, a lot of hurtful things. And so I wear this brand a lot. It really speaks to me. And so thanks, Asha, if you are listening and watching.
Thanks, Asha. We gotta have Asha come on and share that. Did you say that May is Mental Health
Mental
Awareness
Health
Month?
Awareness Month, yes,
Okay, so yeah, because that comes from a different um, s- understanding in space when someone who's saying, "Hey, this is what I'm doing to help myself heal."
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, and then and I'm willing to share it with others, so that they could come up with ideas. And a lot of times we don't know what makes us feel good or what our um, skills are. Like I've heard people say, "Oh, I didn't know until I was an adult that I could paint really well," you know.
Well, you
But
won't know what you can do until you endeavor a thing.
there we go.
Just like we used to say,
Hmm.
when people say, "Oh, I don't like that." Well, what you speaking of, like foods? Well, what don't you
Hmm.
like about it? Is it bitter? Is it, too sweet? Well, I never had it. Well, how do you know you don't like it? That doesn't even make sense. We have to start being rational, in our behaviors. It's like, how do
Yeah.
you know that?
Well, maybe they say I don't like the way it smells.
Well, I don't like the way well,
I
tell
don't know.
me. Tell me you don't
Tell me
like the way it
something.
smells. Tell me you
Right.
don't like the texture. Something.
That's right. Did
Well,
you
my
need to
mama
do a
never
quick?
ate it.
Did you need to do a quick break, real quick, like a 1 minute?
No,
Because
I'm
I do
good.
have something to share
I
with the
see
people.
who the culprit is. It is my neighbor, the bird lady, and I will get up with her later. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. So, um, yeah. So, is there anything else that you want to add before we end? And then before I ask my final question.
I just wanted to say health is wealth. We have to do better about our physical health. We have to try harder to eat the proper foods, eat at the proper times, How to Eat to
Mhm.
Live, books 1 and 2, if you need a reference for that.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
we have to
No.
put down the things that are killing us: tobacco, liquor, all this, filth that we put into our bodies. But also, we have to move away from uh, bad spiritual food, the things that we allow into our
Mhm.
psyche, the things that people are telling us about ourselves, the things that we tell ourselves about ourselves.
Yeah.
Positive affirmations is a new fad now, but it's necessary. We have to really get into the positive self talk, and we have to know who we are,
Mhm.
so that we can tell ourselves um, good things about ourselves. because negative mental food is just as detrimental as negative physical food.
Okay, so look, my last question that I ask everyone, I don't know, you pretty much kind of answered it, but I always ask, what advice do you have for young people? There's something, a gem that you could drop to young people.
Listen to your parents. I mean, well, you know how to discern right and wrong. If you have some parents who are telling you right things, listen. They have been there and done what you're doing now. Nothing that a young person is doing and experiencing today is new. There is nothing new under the sun. And so they are telling you from experience so that you won't make the same mistakes. And they're telling you out of love. So I have a couple who listen to me all the time. And it
Good.
is showing up for them in their lives. And you can see
Yes,
the benefits of listening to mom and listening to dad.
that's right. That's right. I love it. So I want to again thank you for coming on the show and sharing with us. I want to remind the people that May 3rd from 12 to 3 on the corner of 71st and Artesian, if you don't know, one block west of Western.
With the
Get
red
there
on.
with the red on and get there. You won't miss us.
And
Um,
we will have some light refreshments for the people when the speakers have taken their last questions. We'll have some light refreshments. We don't want the people to be famished.
Thank you, because you know you got to feed us. Now you tell us you're gonna feed us, we'll be there.
Right.
We'll be there. And so I look forward to that. Also, a reminder that tomorrow is Feed the People Friday, and we'll be doing it at 3 o'clock. And Khalilah, your daughter, is one of our volunteers for tomorrow. She's
Okay. Well,
also a YCC alumni.
she will be there on time.
Okay, okay. So we're going to start Feed the People, though, at 3 o'clock. Okay,
Very good.
guys. So 75th and Phillips inside the Corey Event Center. We'll also be feeding the people on 71st and Clyde at Mama Africa's Marketplace. And as you all know, and I want to say this while we're live, thank you so much for treating me and giving me my flowers while I'm here. And they're in a nice vase. I wish I had it with me. On yesterday, which was officially my birth anniversary. Yeah, my sister came and snatched me up and took me out, and we had a good time. And then we ended with Wednesday night class at Crow. And it was just, it's a great day. It's always a good feeling to be loved. I don't care who
Absolutely.
you are. That's always,
Absolutely.
that's some good self-care right there, just to be loved and to be loved by your family. But as you all knew, but people were asking me, well, what you doing for your birthday? Um, I'm letting them know I'm skipping skydiving and I'm skipping skiing this year. Instead, I want you to pull up to the Taste of Imani's on Sunday, May 4th, the day after we go to Crow for the mental health symposium. You good? Great. Then on the 4th, you can come on over. And what I want you all to do, it's a real good party with good food, good people, great vibes. Brother Khalilah Muhammad of Black Chicago Eats is our host. And we're highlighting our chef, or I call him my chef, Chef Sean Myers. He will be doing the small plates for us. And I'm going to tell you all now, you'll never get him for this price again. So it behooves you to get there, to get your ticket now. The link is all over in our bio on Instagram, at Imani's Originals. It's everywhere. It's in our Facebook pages. It's on our website. So you can go to Imani'sOriginals.com and get your ticket today. That would be a great birthday gift to me. You all know we got a lot to do in the community. I can't even talk about everything that we have coming, but we're going to be also teaching our youth IT. We're going to be teaching them AI. We're going to be teaching them the things literate. We're going to make sure they're literate. We're going to be teaching them the things that they need to know to move forward. We are our own solutions, and we will do it ourselves. So with
Absolutely.
that being said, we need your help. We're not gonna act like we don't. So go ahead, get your tickets. It's events.imanisoriginals.com. The tickets are only like $20, and you're gonna get all the pie that you can get, all our different flavors. Many of you didn't even know the different flavors you'll get to taste it on that day. You already know that Brother Khalilah Muhammad is nothing but fun. He's a real foodie. KJ Muhammad's a real foodie. We will have real foodies in the house networking. We're expecting like over 200 people. So get in, get your ticket, and be there on time because it's from 3 to 5.
Thanks
Now,
for having me, sister.
thank you. I appreciate you. Assalamu alaikum. And I love you.
Walaikum salam. I love you too.
Yep. And I love you too, guys. So thank you. And assalamu alaikum. And check out the Imani song at the end. Tell me what you think.
Picking up the best. Honey's original. A color above the rest. Sweet, savory, every bite's divine. Bean pie's fresh every single time. Taste the magic in every slice. Come on, now don't think twice.